Hey all, Aaron from the Holotape podcast here. Now, if you've been listening to our show, and if not, you should, you know that we love vintage computers. Apple, Atari, Commodore, ZX Spectrum, with 8-bit or 16-bit teamware all over it. But personally, I've still got a soft spot for my gaming consoles, especially the handhelds, and one of my absolute personal favourites is the Atari Lynx. Now, being that the Lynx was the brainchild of ex-Amiga engineers RJ Michael and Dave Needle working on behalf of Epix, a name utterly synonymous with vintage computer gaming, it absolutely has some seriously strong ties to the vintage computer era. But I digress. So Jared, here's my challenge. I've seen some of the fantastic consolized systems you've done already, so I want to see how you go at expanding the Atari console family by creating the Lynx home console that never was.
Okay, so here we have the Model 1 and the Model 2. The one we're going to be modifying is the Model 1. So we'll flip it over, open it up and see what we're going to be dealing with. Okay, so with the Model 1, from what I can see is there's 4 screws here. So we'll take these off now. And now we just lift this off, which is our battery holder. And we're left with the backlight, speaker, and the card reader here, which is where we're going to have to extend first of all. So that'll be the first port of call. We'll extend the card reader out so that it fits into the 2600 shell and has the card reader right here, and you just put your cartridge in through here. I'll make a little 3D printed screen piece up for that so it fits in nicely. Anyway, let's continue taking apart the Atari Lynx. We're going to make things a lot easier for ourselves. We'll take the battery supply away from the PCB, so I'll desolder it from tabs A and B here. That'll make it free, and the other thing we'll do is we'll lift this board up and actually take the front off, and there you'll have it ready so you can just put it straight into the shell. Next, I'll remove the 2 wires off this to make it easier for us while we're working, so there's less stuff around. Okay, so now where we were from the speaker, if we flip it over, we'll see some shielding, and we'll need to remove and desolder these points so we're able to get this card reader slot out. So I'll turn to our old trusty friend, the desoldering gun, and we'll hammer into that. I'm going to run it at about 480 degrees Celsius to get rid of it. Okay, so now we've removed this shield, flip it over and you get better access to the parts you need to remove this. So what we're going to have to do, get the old trusty friend out again, desolder all these points and bring the cartridge slot forward. Okay, so if we flip this now, we should just be able to pull it out, like so. Now what we're going to do is solder all the wires onto this, and bring them from A to B, making it long enough so that we'll have an extended harness and we can have our games go straight to the top of it like this. And this just can be seated in nice and low inside the console. So here we have our NES controller, which by the time it's finished is not going to resemble an NES controller at all. And a cable which is pre-made with the DB9 port on the end, 9 pins. So we're going to have cut one of the ends off this, bring it inside the controller, and the other end will plug into the console. So our cable is sitting in here now with 9 wires, and we're going to leave this to cut an incision here and the cable length, the whole length of the controller, and you'll see why in a minute. So we'll cut it here and strip all and expose all 9 wires. Okay, so we'll start laying these in, soldering them in place now. I'll write a color chart for our buttons and follow along. We're not going to use all these points, but we'll put solder in all the holes anyway, just for ease. Then we'll come back and solder them all in. With the wires, there'll be 9 of them. You followed the chart before. Okay, so the first one we're going to look at is the ground, and that is this one. So if we flip it over, you can see through here that it runs and links up every one of these. Comes around here, commons to this, commons to these two. So that's probably the first and most important one we're going to solder in, and that's this one here. Okay, so all our wires are in place now, and we've got to now take all the wires off the Atari Lynx and make an adjacent matching adapter on a DB9 so it will go into this controller. Okay, now let's wire in the DB9 plug, put all 9 pins and use the frame and the shield as another transmitter. I'll show you how we do all that. We'll get started now. And what we have to do now is pin all the test points out. There's 10 of them to be exact, and that will give us all our controller functions. And I'll bring a wire off each one and show you what each one is. Let's get stuck straight into it.
Critical injury. System failure. Rebooting. 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 Calibration complete. Rebooting. JE setup complete. FH system 417 on. Charged up. Ready to go.
Hey guys, it's Jared here from Multitapped and Avalanche Reviews. You like what you've seen here? Well, consider subscribing and hitting that bell icon to stay up to date. For the other great content creators shown here, check in the description below.
Hey there, I'm Andy Last, and I host Beyond Synth, the best synth music chat show there is, and we are just thrilled to be associated with Retro Revolutions and all the cool stuff that Jared has going on there. And if you dig the kind of music that Jared plays when he's doing his awesome shit, you might want to check out Beyond Synth and BeyondSynth.com. We've been doing this show since about 2013. It's the best place to go for listening to new synthwave, retro electronic, future pop, synth pop, all that cool stuff, and we talk to the artists who make it. We have lots of fun times and lots of fun chats, so go check it out, or don't. Either way, stay tuned to Retro Revolutions because Jared's got lots of awesome shit planned, and I look forward to seeing it, so yeah. Alright.